Our city knows the sweet taste of victory. From the Stanley Cup to a Division I title win.
That still doesn't feel real.
A triumph isn't an end.
Now, new stories are being written, and Fox 5 and the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network is following every team on ice. With our UNLV Skatin Rebel national champions.
It's great for the city, it's great for hockey.
How will they defend their title?
Let's bring it home!
And the Henderson Silver Knights, skating with something to prove while building tomorrow's legends.
It's great to be able to teach and grow off a win.
Plus, how our youth teams are teaching kids to fly on ice. And what's in store for the new faces of the VGK, including their monsters in the north.
The Golden Knights are beefing up their minor leagues with the Night Monsters. These teams, our teams.
Where their victories become our victories. Building the future of hockey, one player at a time.
Vegas wanted hockey, Vegas got hockey.
Covering every team on the ice, this is Hockey in the Desert Weekly.
Welcome inside the holiday edition of Hockey in the Desert Weekly. I'm your host, Vince Sapienza. Before we close out the book that is 2025, let's fire home a snapshot of what is in store over the next 30 minutes. It is the season of giving, and we'll highlight a member of the Golden Knights organization who continues to use his platform to help others, not just here in Southern Nevada, but across the country as well. I go one-on-one with Golden Knights president John Penhallow, learning more about the man who is leading the franchise on the business side. Plus, as always, we talk some UNLV puck. I sit down with Skatin Rebels head coach Anthony Vignier-Greener and how the team is closing out the year by giving back to the community. But first, we start on the ice. NHL players are heading to the Olympics for the first time since 2014, and the Golden Knights are expected to be heavily represented, which includes their head coach, Bruce Cassidy. Named an assistant for Team Canada, and earlier this year, I caught up with Vegas bench boss to discuss the excitement for the games in Cortina and the welcome challenges that lie ahead.
They're still the champs, and Canada is still at the top of the heap in international hockey.
You've never shied away from talking about how much you want to represent Team Canada, your country, right? You've got the opportunity to do that at the Four Nations. You also kind of let us in a little bit on the work. You were running the power play, so you did the homework on every guy that might be. What is that balance moving forward as you get ready for the Olympics in Cortina and that work of balancing club and country?
We did some of that this summer. We had a retreat in Calgary. The U.S., I think, did it in Michigan, if I'm not mistaken. So probably every country got guys together. So we got a head start on that. We defined our role, so there's no surprises. And there's a little extra work to be done there. Some of it was done in August. We took from last year because we're going to have some familiar faces back.
Jump by McDavid, score! Mitch Marner, high slot down low, Bennett scores!
We had something to work with now. The Four Nations, games, we could at least clip some of there. Going into it last year was interesting power play because you're showing McDavid at Edmonton to Marner in Toronto to Sid in Pittsburgh and where they fit, their clips, and then trying to merge them into a team. This year at least we'll have, we have a little bit to work with when we go to the players. But in season, John Cooper, the head coach, will call, he'll check in, we'll have some stuff ready, prepared for him. Here's my area, this is what I'm thinking. But again, I think we know half the players probably, but the other half could change. So you are a little bit gotta kind of wait it out.
Here's McDavid on the move. McDavid scores! Here comes McKinnon moving in, score! 2-0 Canada!
For my area, the power play, I know McDavid's on the team, I know McKinnon, I know the guys are gonna be on it. So I'll just be keeping an eye on what they're doing. Have they changed where they played the previous year? What's different? What's the same so they're most comfortable? Because in a short tournament, you don't have a lot of time to mess around. You need guys comfortable in what they're doing, and so that is the adjustment. Things happen quick, and so you better have your plan A sorted out, right away.
Harley for McKinnon, trying to weave, he scores! Through it toward the net from the top of the slot.
Did that experience at the Four Nations help you with the Golden Knights?
Well, I think where it helps is being around elite players, how you're going to communicate with them. I think what helped me is seeing the others. I was an assistant, right? So I wasn't. So you're taking a step back a little bit, watching things happen. You're a little more focused on your area, but you're also not in front of the group as much, so you're listening more. I think your eyes are open and your ears are open, maybe a little more than the head coach. You got to be more proactive, so to speak. So I think that builds your overall appreciation for your assistants, and maybe sometimes to back off and another voice, whatever, balance that.
Centering pass, McDavid scores! Connor McDavid wins it for Canada!
And then just being around a winning team, what it takes to win, right? It wasn't a perfect game for Canada. I would think the U.S. would say the same. That's why I went into overtime, but we made the play at the right time. And you learn that as a coach sometimes. I said that the first year. We were an imperfect team that ended up getting closer and closer to perfect as the year went on. And we're the best at it at the end of the year. So that's the other thing you probably learn. Even with the best of the best, there's no perfect games. There's mistakes made, and I think you have to recognize that these players are human. So let them play through it.
Despite all the ice, we're just getting warmed up here on Hockey in the Desert Weekly. When we return, I'll introduce you to Will Nickel, a day one employee for the VGK, and explain his role in creating the culture and what it means to be a Golden Knight.
You're watching Hockey in the Desert Weekly.
Welcome back inside Hockey in the Desert Weekly. The Golden Knights may call Las Vegas home, but as we've seen throughout the years, their impact reaches far beyond the walls of T-Mobile Arena. And while there are many stories and examples of that reach, the latest comes from an original VGK employee.
I'm here with the Golden Knights, Will Nickel. Will, great to see you as always. I want to dig into something that I know is very close to your heart back in Madison, Safe Harbor. Yep. Something that was obviously close to your father's heart as well. For those that don't know, please describe what Safe Harbor is and why it's so important to you and your family.
Yeah, so my dad passed away 6 years ago at the age of 83, and at one point he was a judge. And in Madison, Wisconsin, they're on a rotation, between the criminal, the civil, and the juvenile. It's a 2-year rotation. And so when he was a juvenile judge for those 2 years, and this is back in the 90s, it really bothered him that when there was a call about child abuse in any way, shape, or form, the child had to go to the police station, and how intimidating that would be for a kid. So he got together with some people and they started this nonprofit called Safe Harbor, where now, today you fast forward over 25 years later, we have a building, we have a service dog, we have the police in a separate room. It's just a child with a professional that's able to speak to the child, and everybody else watches on video. It's just much more kid friendly. And that was the goal initially, and it's just grown to be something bigger. So he asked me about a year before he died if I'd take his spot on the board, which I was very honored, but I also told him I'm not home much. And he said, well, they'll work with you. You'll be helping with the fundraising part, which is what I've tried to do.
I found out about this stories when, day with the Cup, Stanley Cup champions. Where are you guys taking it? You're going to go out to the bar? You're going to go out and see friends? Yeah. You decided to take...
We're going to do something good. We had fun with it too. But what we did is we asked people that were invited to the party, if they wanted to and if they could, to make a donation to Safe Harbor. When we won the Cup, I asked John Cooper, someone I coached against a long time ago, any advice, and he said, make sure you do something good with it. And I think that's part of the tradition. And so that's what we did, and we raised thousands and thousands of dollars that day, which was much more than I thought. And then my father-in-law, who's now retired, but he was at a jewelry store, that jewelry store, TQ Diamonds, also did a fundraiser when I got my ring. And people were able to come in, get their picture with my ring and all that, and all they had to do is make a donation to Safe Harbor.
Will Nickel is in the midst of his 10th year with the organization, meaning he's an original Golden Knights employee hired in August of 2016, well before the team had a name, a logo, or even a player. And among all of his accomplishments, he's helped establish one of the best traditions the organization has.
It's gone fast in a lot of ways, but I love being a Knight. Everybody who knows me knows that and what being a Knight means. It ties together, Safe Harbor, because our very first dev camp, we wanted to do something good in the community. And I just thought of my dad. He was still alive at that time. And something else that he did is that he would go once a week and he'd help serve people food who maybe weren't in a position to buy groceries, or they were on tough times. And so we got together with Catholic Charities our very first year, and our prospects go down. And for me, it's one of the best parts of the week. And it allows us to talk to the kids about what the Vegas Golden Knight organization means to the community, you know, what the community means to the players, and talk about perspective, you know, how lucky we are to be a part of something like hockey that we love, but also to be grateful for the things that you have, you know, and not everybody is fortunate. And the last piece is, it's always great to give back, and you always feel better, you know, getting back on that bus afterwards, and they do, you know, then when we get off, and that's because you're helping people.
When you boil down what it means to be a Golden Knight, what does that mean to you?
As you know, Bill Foley gave us a definition. It was at our first meeting, I'll never forget, in the fall of 2016, when he said, you know, what the definition of a knight is. And it's, you know, always advance, you never give up, you never give in, you protect those who can't protect themselves. And those aren't just words, right? Like we all live by them, whether it's me in player development, whether it's the players, whether it's people in our media, marketing, whatever, you know, we try to live up to that every day.
Now, if you want to be part of the giving season and donate or learn more about Safe Harbor, there's a link on our website, fox5vegas.com. Over the summer, the Golden Knights hired a new president of business operations, John Penhollow. Less than 6 months on the job, I got a chance to sit down with him this past month and get to know one of the newest members of the organization, starting with his transition to Las Vegas. What has the transition been like for you from the NFL to the NHL, Vegas, the Golden Knights, and the such?
Oh gosh, how much time do we have here? It's been great. Since arriving late summer, early fall, the staff's been great. Bill's been amazing to work with, him and his family. I think maybe the biggest takeaway is that there's already a tremendous foundation in place, both on the ice, clearly, and on the business side. But there's a willingness to really take it to the next level, and that was Bill's mandate coming in. And the more time I got to spend with each of the different line mates here, it's pretty clear that they're looking for maybe a different style of coaching and development, a different style of maybe how we approach business. And so it's really been driving how we evaluate and then setting up what's going to be the future for the organization.
You know, one of the hallmarks of this franchise has been the aggressive nature, right? Both on and off the ice, what they've done, being innovative in a lot of different ways. As you made your way over here and took this position, how much does that, I guess, jive with how you conduct business and how you go about innovating and creating?
Yeah, it's interesting. So a similar question came up recently, and I said, I'm not sure I know any other way. I've had a really blessed career to work across all the different leagues, and 30 years in now, I still have a lot of energy and passion to really do things that others didn't think was possible, or to really start to look at pieces of business in a way that maybe people weren't ready to look at, but with the right tweak, the right move, slightly left, slightly right, maybe it's a real idea. And then do you have the staff to do that? And can you pour into the staff that maybe has never been asked the question before or has never been in the room? Now that they start to get asked those questions and they're in the right room, maybe we help launch some other careers. So it's exciting.
Now you look at your resume, lot of football. Lot of football in there, a little baseball as well, and I say a little respectively, obviously. But you are a hockey guy.
I am.
You are a guy who has coached. Where did hockey first come for you in terms of the love, the passion, the origin story, if you will?
Yeah, I appreciate you asking that. So I grew up in Western New York, so a little town, Jamestown, New York, great town, in the shadows of Buffalo Sabres and Buffalo Bills country. So it was easy growing up in the early 80s, late 80s to be a Sabres fan and a Bills fan. Bills were struggling at the time, but the Sabres were really a fun team to watch. They picked up Pat LaFontaine there in the late 80s. He was my favorite player, and for many years I wore the number 16 because of him. All but 1 year, actually. There was a Bantam year where I had to wear 24. But
we won't talk about that year.
Yeah, I know exactly the guy who took the number from me.
You could call him out right now.
Tommy Reuter in Buffalo. But every other year has been number 16. And so I played the sport growing up. I started when I was 7. I had 3 older brothers. We all played at one point in time. So I had the stereotypical parents that were willing to drive us wherever we needed to go, which is what it was in those days. You had to really drive great distances to play. But fell in love with the sport, continued to play throughout high school, played in college. And then I was fortunate enough throughout the career that we moved to some really great places. I still got to play adult hockey, pickup hockey, which was amazing, and played in Chicago and New York and South Florida, and still just got to play the sport, which is amazing. It's probably the one sport aside from the individual sports that you could really keep playing. And then when we was fortunate enough to get married and we started having kids, we have 3 kids total, 2 of which play. And I was lucky enough to coach both Scarlett, our daughter, and Walker, our son. So coaching girls hockey and boys hockey for 2 of the seasons at the same time, it was amazing. You sit there and you get to be on the ice and teach this beautiful sport to kids. And doing that in Minnesota, the state of hockey, if you will. And it taught me a lot about really how to be a parent and a husband. But I would tell you there were some fascinating parallels with coaching kids and coaching inside the office environment. The words might be slightly different, but when you can teach a kid how to, do edge work, and you see the smile on their face, and then they get really excited about coming the next day. On the business side, we might teach a different way to look at data, as an example. And when a salesperson understands how to take the data and turn it into something, it might be a different type of smile, but there's still that same charge and same energy the next day. So coaching the sport has been something I just love to do. Eventually they got old enough and they're on these AAA teams and A teams, and they don't allow parents to coach, which is a good thing. So I had to sort of watch from the stands.
That is a good thing.
That's my role now, as our 2 of our kids still play, and I just have to watch from the crowd. And then if either of them have a question as we're in the car or heading home, I'll answer it. But for the most part, I'm just a fan now. So.
Still ahead on Hockey in the Desert Weekly, I sit down with head coach Anthony Vignier-Greener. The Skatin Rebels not back in action until January, but they are staying busy, helping the next wave of players here in the Valley. I'll have the details next. Welcome back inside Hockey in the Desert. 2025 will always be remembered as the year that UNLV hockey made history, winning an ACHA national championship, the first in program history. But the team is choosing to close out the year not by celebrating accomplishments, but helping the next wave of hockey players here in the Valley.
When you return back home, City National Arena, obviously it's always exciting to come back home. Fans get very excited when you come back home because you always seem to have a new jersey.
Right.
You're the Oregon of Las Vegas, kind of the way you guys just pump out jersey after jersey. Talk about this holiday themed one you got going this time.
Yeah, we always do a Christmas jersey. And they do a great job of presenting and putting together new ideas. Last year they did Home Alone. This year they turned out amazing. The boys are super psyched about it. I think any time you get a chance to wear a jersey like that on one night, just to add an oomph in the locker room, the boys get excited. They walk in, Nappy's got it all set up, and the buzz in the room is just through the roof. So, yeah, I'm excited to be back in front of our fans.
Glue guy Nappy, put in the work as always. Love to hear that. Love to hear that he's not missing a beat either. Speaking of the holidays, you guys are once again putting together a holiday camp of sorts for the next generation, the next wave, the future Scarlet and Gray Stars.
Yeah, no, it's, we've talked about this numerous times. I think it's really big and crucial for a program like ours to give back to the community. Because one day we want those kids to, start out at junior nights and then hopefully UNLV, and then who knows what can happen at the end of the day. And at the end of the day, you got the AHL, you got NHL. So we want to help any way we can. I think it's an exciting time for our players to see the youth, and then for the youth just to get to back and, hey, sit down with Joey or sit down with Kunze and just say, hey, what do I do here or what do I do there? So anytime we can give back, we love that opportunity.
As a hockey dad whose son participated in the first one, I can attest it is extremely well run, and my biggest takeaway is not just the skills that they're able to learn or garner, it's that interaction with the student athletes that are on this team, the leadership group. Everybody gets out there, and it looks like they all want to be there.
Yeah, and I think that's a big part of our, for us is being good in the community. We talk about it all the time. We don't want you to just be good on the ice. We want you to be good away from the rink as well. Classroom, in the community. So if any chance they can get back and hang out with kids, they love it.
Now, one other big opportunity fans, kids, students, players may have, you guys are taking this thing abroad. Las Vegas cannot contain the Skatin Rebels. What is going on? We're going to Europe?
Yeah, actually.
I didn't see my ticket.
It's not booked yet. Maybe, just maybe. Jax comes. No, it was presented to Nick and I, and we thought, why not? So we're in the process of putting everything together. We're looking to bring 1 to 3 teams over there in 3 different age groups. It'll be an exciting time just to get over there, not necessarily just for the hockey part of it, but for the memories you'll make with your kids down the road. I know I did something very similar. I got to do stuff with my grandfather, and those memories will last for a lifetime. So for Nick and I and Coach Colin to get over, bring a new set of faces, young, in the community, it'll be an awesome experience. So I'm really looking forward to that.
What ages are we talking about with these teams that may be going?
Yeah, 10 to 12, 14 to 16, and then also looking at an 8 to 10U as well.
And you're looking to play games, practice with teams abroad?
Yeah, we're going to do it all. We'll practice over there, we'll sightsee, we'll play 3 games. Just the experience alone, just get over there. And like I said, it's not so much winning and losing these games, it's about the memories that will be made.
Unbelievable. He is the bench boss for the Scarlet and Gray, the reigning, defending Coach of the Year, Anthony Vignier-Greener. Coach, best of luck the rest of the way. We will chat soon.
Appreciate it.
As we wrap up Hockey in the Desert here in 2025, it is time to clear the ice one more time, and for the final time, we check in with the Athletics annual players poll, and the headliner is Nick Cousins. He was voted the NHL's most punchable player. Now, anonymously, of course. 107 players across the league were asked the question, and 24.3% of the votes came in favor of the former Golden Knight. Now, that's what it looks like if Nick Cousins was punched, and he has been many times, he's told me. The next highest vote getter was Brad Marchand, and behind him, fellow Florida teammate Matthew Tkachuk. For what it's worth, no other former Knights nor current VGK players were voted for in that particular question. Sorry, Nick, but sorry, not sorry. Thanks so much for joining us here on Hockey in the Desert Weekly. A happy holidays, a happy new year. We'll see you at the rink, and I'll talk to you next week.